answers, but rail officials are already hinting that human error may have unleashed the tragedy.
A scene that horrified even the most experienced emergency workers, our worst rail disaster in decades, 260 kilometres east of Perth. A collision between two freight trains that ended in death, destruction and a damage bill estimated at more than $10 million.
We have investigators in terms of safe working. We have other technical people on site as well who are gathering information that relates to mechanical or electrical operation of signalling. So
a massive clean-up operation commenced this morning.
Well, so far we've removed the crippled rail that we can to stage. We've pulled away the damaged wagons. The next stage is to remove the locomotives that are stopping progress, and we'll remove the crippled rail from underneath there.
But Westrail and National Rail are not discussing their joint investigation into the tragedy, which took the lives of two people, one an 11-year-old boy, the other a driver. While police still refuse to identify the pair, it's believed both are from Rockingham and may be related. They were heading toward Perth when their goods train slammed into the back of a Westrail loco, fully laden with diesel fuel. The explosion seen and heard for miles. Nearly 100 emergency workers spent the night putting out the inferno.
A large proportion of them were volunteers. We will be having a debrief within the next week, and from that, as I said earlier, we will be required to analyse the situation and find out exactly what did happen and submit a subsequent report to the coroner.
Investigators say the only way to confirm what happened here is to find the train's black box, which would have recorded the final instructions to the ill-fated crew. But they've got about as much chance of that as finding a needle in a haystack. Practically everything else in the disaster zone either melted or burnt to a crisp.
This is the final call for the Indian Pacific coaches to the eastern states.
With hundreds of passengers stranded on both sides of our only rail artery to the east, the main objective now is to reopen the track. Large parts of it also destroyed in the blaze. Westrail remains optimistic services will recommence sometime tomorrow morning. Lisa Fairclough, 10 News.
For WA's worst train smash. A man and a young boy were killed. A mass of twisted and torn metal litters the transline at the wheatbelt town of Hines Hill. As investigators try to sort out what caused this tragedy, scores of travellers and hundreds of thousands of dollars of freight have been held up.
$10 million damage, 2 people dead. Investigators now believe that just after midnight Saturday, someone made a very tragic mistake.
information available so far indicates that it wasn't related to the electrical or mechanical control of signalling. And on probabilities, I guess the balance points to human error.
What should have happened is the National Rail freight train bound for Perth should have waited for the Westrail train to move completely into a siding. Instead, it ploughed into it.
It happens hundreds of times every day. The signalling allows one train to move into the loop and allows the other train to advance towards the entry to the loop but not go beyond it.
Westrail workers spent today toiling in 30-degree heat, clearing the line of debris. Evidence of the intense heat is everywhere. Some of the carriages melted, the liquid metal solidifying in rivers on the track. 36 hours after the smash, some of the carriages are still smouldering.
They'll go back to Adelaide and they'll do what they can to recover the working components out of those locomotives.
It'll take just 48 hours to clear this line and get it working again. But investigators say it'll be another 2 weeks before a report will tell us exactly what happened. Freight's been held up either side of the tiny wheatbelt town of Merredin. Passengers travelling on the Prospector and Indian Pacific trains that travel from the east to the west coast are being bussed around the site.
Bit of a long journey because I've just come all the way from New Zealand, so besides that, it's not a problem.
The hostesses have been really great and it's been all right. I just feel sorry for the people that have, other people that have been affected.
Mara Pritchard, 7 Nightly News.
Year-old Rockingham boy also killed in the crash had been best friends with Wayne Monk's eldest son, Stephen.
You know, Bobby Lee went up to Irene and Wayne's on holiday for 2 weeks. And Wayne thought, you know, ask permission and give Bobby Lee a trip. The next minute, you know, 2 lives are just taken.
And it seems Stephen Monk could easily have been on the ill-fated train with his father.
Stephen wanted to go and His mum said no for him to stay.
The driver rescued from the burning train is tonight in a satisfactory condition in Sir Charles Gardner Hospital. Neil Poe, National 9 News.
Been trying to piece together what happened. 2 National Rail locomotives which were destroyed in the disaster are to be railed to Adelaide for further investigation. But human error is emerging as the most likely cause of the horrific smash, which claimed the lives of a train driver and an 11-year-old boy.
The names of the victims are still being withheld, but it's understood the dead boy was enjoying a holiday treat, travelling with a family friend who was a co-driver of the ill-fated train. He survived the smash, but has severe burns to his hands and arms. The locomotives were still smouldering 36 hours after the smash, and any hopes that investigators may have had of finding some indication of the cause from the train's black box were fading. It's understood that the black box and the train's onboard computer system were completely destroyed in the inferno.
We haven't established the final cause of the accident. We're still going through the data that's available.
Mr. Bradley says indications so far are that there was no technical or mechanical malfunction. Human error hasn't been ruled out.
That's one of the possibilities. It's one of the options that are available, but we haven't drawn any conclusions yet.
Diesel fuel does not ignite easily. Crash investigators are believed to be working on the theory that the inferno was caused by the lead locomotive's exhaust coming into contact with diesel spewing from a ruptured tanker. Puddles of metal formed when the tankers melted in the intense heat surround the wreck. Local farmer Vern Hill is being hailed a hero for rescuing one driver and trying courageously to beat the flames to save the 2 victims. He may even be in line for an award.
I'm sure when the things start to settle down a bit, we will certainly consider making a recommendation to that effect.
Repair crews have been working all day to clear the wreckage. Heavy cranes were brought in to lift the locomotives away from the line, and about 200 metres of buckled track has to be replaced. Westrail hopes to have the line open by midday tomorrow.